Chairman Comer, Ranking Member Raskin, and members of the committee, thank you for your leadership in convening a hearing to discuss the policy implications of the current administration. Ranking Member Raskin, I'd like to assure you I'm not seeking an appointment, nor have I even read Project 2025. But the core duty of any government is to protect its citizens. Yet, over the last 4 years, the world has only grown more dangerous. We have witnessed the largest attack on a European nation in 85 years and the deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust. History has been made by the number of full and partial U.S. embassy evacuations around the world, and the United Nations concurs that, quote, the world is facing the highest number of conflicts since World War II, end quote. It's crucial to understand that these conditions weren't simply imposed on us. Instead, reckless policies of appeasement embolden our enemies, giving them the power and confidence to act. When the world's most powerful democracy projects indecision, it invites aggression. Authoritarian states and hostile non-state actors have sensed a window of opportunity to expand their influence and challenge American power and prestige. The clearest example of such overt aggression by a state actor can be found in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. A war that has entered its third year was presaged by a lengthy series of policy decisions by the administration that strengthened Putin's position and demonstrated a provocative unwillingness to defend Ukraine. The end result of these policy choices was the greatest deterrence failure since the Cold War. Once the invasion occurred, the administration continuously slow-rolled critical military aid and a strategy for victory. The Biden-Harris administration's chronic delays project weakness, dragging out the conflict and escalating the economic burden borne by the United States and our allies. It's no surprise that the failed execution of another key policy, the withdrawal from Afghanistan, was overseen by the same team. U.S. intelligence assessed the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan played a major role in influencing Putin's decision to invade. The administration prioritized political timelines over on-the-ground realities. At state, they resisted early calls for a non-combat evacuation, believing it would signal failure. At the Department of Defense, operational mistakes, such as the closure of Bagram Air Base, severely hindered the U.S.'s ability to conduct a secure evacuation. And despite credible intelligence warning of a terrorist threat, the DoD failed to prevent the deadly bombing at Abbey Gate, which claimed the lives of 13 U.S. service members. To this day, key figures across all agencies have avoided responsibility, and accountability has been notably absent across all levels. Not only did the U.S. government leave behind $7 billion worth of military equipment, which the Taliban just paraded in a celebratory event, but a January report from the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction noted since August 2021, the UN has purchased, transported, and transferred $2.9 billion in U.S. currency to Afghanistan. The report also highlighted that the U.S. remains Afghanistan's largest international donor. In short, the U.S. is sending money to the Taliban. Again, it is unsurprising that one of the chief architects of the withdrawal failure also touted that, quote, the Middle East is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades, end quote, only 8 days before the multi-frontal attack launched by Iranian-supported Hamas into Israel. The administration's efforts to revive the Iran nuclear deal have been disastrous. Once again, the shift from a maximum pressure campaign under the previous administration to a conciliatory appeasement-based strategy has shown to be catastrophic. In fact, most of Iran's nuclear expansion occurred after President Biden's election. Iran's increasing involvement in regional instability and its military support for Russia underscores the administration's inability to curtail Iran's authoritarian expansion. Just as the Biden-Harris administration has failed to effectively deter our other enemies, he is running the risk of failing to lead against our greatest threat. Now, we have bolstered our alliances. We do have the AUKUS security partnership. We have concentrated bipartisan efforts, which are positive developments. Yet the Biden administration's hallmark embrace of this idea of diplomatic ease with authoritarian leaders, in this case China, runs the risk of tipping us into managing competition rather than winning. The U.S. is in a new Cold War with China, and attempts to temper or tame that reality only increase the likelihood of an actual war. When American foreign policy fails, women and girls often pay the highest price. The United Nations reported a 50% increase in verified cases of conflict-related sexual violence from 2022 to 2023. This violence has had far-reaching societal consequences, severely limiting women's livelihoods and restricting girls' access to education in many countries around the world. This is particularly true in Afghanistan, where, as one young woman described, quote, women and girls have lost all their hope in the world, end quote. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not enjoy sitting here reciting a litany of U.S. failures and a decline in America's power and presence on the world stage. I am a proud American who deeply loves her country. Unfortunately, many of the failures outlined here represent systemic breakdowns from the White House to individual agency leadership. There has been a startling lack of accountability, and Americans have taken notice. When accountability is neglected, the consequences are clear and far-reaching. Ultimately, the cost of ignoring accountability is not just organizational inefficiency. Without accountability, the price is eventually paid in the form of deteriorated systems, weakened institutions, deepened crises, and chaos. Tragically, it is Americans who are bearing the burden of these costs. Therefore, it's altogether unsurprising that less than a quarter of the American people trust the government in Washington to do what is right. It is my hope effective and strong oversight can change that for the better. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.